For the next 140 days, we'll be focusing on lawmakers working under that dome to see how they change the future of Texas. John Hryhorchuk is the Senior Vice President for Policy and Advocacy for Texas 2036, a nonprofit policy group. He joins us now to discuss what we can expect. And welcome to KVUE News Midday. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, at the top of the hour, we're going to expect to see the Speaker of the race starting to happen. What can we expect in that process?
You know, it's going to start off with a little bit of formalities, but before long, they're going to move into the first contested speaker's fight in about 50 years. So for most of us, this is very novel territory. Certainly the elected officials, they might know what's going to happen, but until they sit there and push the button on their desk, that's when the sparks fly.
Yeah, so it's between Representatives Dustin Burrows and David Cook. So what are you thinking right now?
You know, I think right now there are two very viable candidates, but there are so many uncertainties out there. Again, this is a truly unprecedented scenario. The good news is once they get through this process, and it might take 1, 2, 3 rounds of voting, but eventually they'll settle into a process where they can move forward and start to get to the work of the House.
Okay, so sometime today we'll find out who the new Speaker of the House is.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Let's move to legislative priorities. The governor and lieutenant governor made it known that school vouchers is one of their top priorities. And with Republicans now being in the majority in both chambers, can we expect it to pass easily?
Easily is always an interesting way of thinking about it, but I do think you're going to see, based off how the primary elections worked out, there is a significant support for school choice. The big question in my mind is, what does that program actually look like when you dive into the details? Is it going to be truly universal eligibility? Is it going to be for low-income students or special needs students? How expensive will the program be? All of that is still yet to be resolved.
Okay, what other issues are you monitoring?
You know, I think with the budget announcement yesterday, there is a significant amount of revenue on the table for the state to make really big long-term investments. And so when you listen to our elected officials, the things that are on the top of their mind is, how do we set our state up for the next 20, 50 years of infrastructure that we need? Energy, water, things like that, as well as human capital. But those are the big ticket items that kind of have been surfacing over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Sure, education, affordable housing. What about the prison system?
You know, it's a very interesting thing. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice is going through a sunset process, deep dive, once every 12 years. There's a lot of money that needs to go into the prison system right now, but also a real chance to improve how we do our education workforce training to address recidivism. So a real opportunity for policymakers right now.
I know there's been a lot of issues over the past years about air conditioning as well in those areas. All right, let's go back to the budget surplus. It's about $23.8 billion. We've heard the lieutenant governor wants to cut property taxes, increase teachers' salaries, and even fund one-time projects and things that you were talking about, like adding grid stability, right? And so what are we looking at with that?
You know, we have a significant surplus plus a very large rainy day fund. The amount of resources that are available for legislators this session is arguably the second biggest in Texas history, behind just the 2023 budget cycle. They have the ability to fund their priorities, both the ones that are necessary to satisfy the political needs, but also to the long-term investments in our future. So it's a really blessed position that we're in as Texans today, compared to how a lot of other states are facing their fiscal situation. So I'm optimistic once we work past this speaker's race that we're going to be in a great position to have a very good session for Texans.
Right, John, you'll be monitoring everything for us. We appreciate your time. John Hryhorchuk with Texas 2036.